Hello everybody. Today I'd like to show you my build on Slormancer, the Inner Fire Knight. It is a very fun build. It's kind of like Righteous Fire from PoE, but at the same time not really. The only thing it has in connection is like killing things at a distance or in a circle. So let's get on with the video. The way Inner Fire works is every time you deal damage with your abilities, as long as you have Inner Fire chance, you get that on your gear. Let me see. For example, magic stat in the fire chance. The higher you have that, the higher it procs and use abilities. And we are currently using Crest Shield and we are using Whirlwind. I'm also going to quickly show off a couple of stuff. Let's talk about the abilities before I show the build off. We've got our invincibility. We're using this. We're using that. Block stacks are very important. The higher the block stack you have, the harder it's going to be for you to die. And we also heal from blocking with our necklace, pretty much making us unkillable if you have some decent gear. I'm sure there's other builds out there that are just straight up broken with barely anything used, but this is my End of Fire build that we're going to go over anyway. Tenacity is very important. Getting 100% makes you immune to movement ability like debuffs. So if you ever got hit by those frozen orb explosions and been frozen in place, or the bats have screeched at you, keeping you, pushing you back, being annoying, 100% of this, getting this to 100%, all that is gone. No more. So we're going to be using armor, because armor scales off with our ruins, which I'm going to show you in a sec. We're using block. We're using tenacity. We're using enemies damage or skewered. This doesn't really matter. It's not that important. I just chose it. Whenever you block, you have a 100% chance to stun the enemy. Just trying that out. Reduce all incoming damage by 100%. This is really strong. Or you can use when you're immune. When you use your immune ability, area effect damage is it won't hit you. So it makes you immune to area damage during the deflect. You could also use this up here, which increases the cooldown by deflect by 30 seconds. If you have enough tenacity mixed with your whirlwind. Whirlwind gives 40% when we're rolling, plus this at 70. So we only have to get 30% on our gear. But getting 100% honestly might be something I'll look into, since my damage and tankiness is overkill for this game as it is. And then the most overpowered knight thing, your chest items, that's added twice. So it doubles all the stats on your chest, which is ridiculous. You know what I mean? You could get 41% area damage reduction just from a pure node. You could get over, you could get up to 13,000 raw damage, a crap ton of armor. The life regen is useless. Don't look at that. Movement speed also gets doubled on the bottom there, giving me like 17.6% just from that. So yeah, this is a very overpowered piece of thing. It doesn't break the game, but it makes it really good, because this also would work if you do a magic find setup. And a chest piece for that, which I'm currently working on, well, the chest piece is almost done, is something like that. Putting this on would give me whatever you see here double, which is pretty crazy. I haven't determined what I'm doing for the third pure. It's either all area reduction or it might be damage. We'll see. But yeah, so that's deflect. Let's get on with the main stuff. Crest shield. Now crest shield, I don't know why using this just feels better to get my inner fireballs out versus using whirlwind. It also has this, so when it does a perfect thrust, it has 100% inner fire chance. Crest shield has an additional 10% inner fire chance. So whatever this is, you put an extra 10% on. So every time we throw a shield, we have like 54% chance to activate it. And every time this luck bar, which is currently not here, but the knight has, when that hits 100%, it's guaranteed to do inner fire. So yeah, pretty good there. We're also using this additional. Sorry, that's the same one. You gain one block stack every second. Very good. As I said, we're doing block. It fires 4 crest shield instead of 1. That's probably another big reason why we get so much inner fire. But yeah, we're just using this just to pump up inner fire balls around us just as soon as we get into a map. So Whirlwind, Inner Fire does 40% more damage while we're channeling it. Whenever you deal a crit, you get block chance. Tenacity, 40% when we Whirlwind. These ones really don't matter. You can look through, pick one. And these ones don't matter either. So those are the main abilities that we're going to be using. Gear, real quickly. We're just looking for res for this. You definitely want your res cap as high as possible. This reduces your damage. We also want area damage reduction so we can stand in everything. As you see, I have a ridiculous amount of move speed. We'll get on how I get that. We also have, there was one more thing I was going to say. Right. So the crit chance, don't worry about the 100. This is a visual bug. I'm actually at 45. And Ancestral Strike is 28. So the way this build works is we crest shield, get a bunch of orbs around us, whirlwind. The whirlwind gives us starts proccing this legendary. Every time we do a crit, um, whenever our identifiers deal critical strike damage, it grows 10 times the size, only 35% increased damage. So that's for your identifiers to deal to get crits so it can grow in size. I just use whirlwind while I'm attempting that because of the damage boost as well. Not that it's necessary, but yeah. So these are the main. That's the main one that we're using in order to get the inner fires to be much bigger balls and so on. Weapon, best weapon in the game is this. If we put this on, inner fire damage is 6 million. If we put the old weapon on, there's a visual bug, I have to refresh it. It's 600,000. So it adds an extra digit. It also gives you a crap ton of life, as you can see, 100,000, because it scales off how many kills you get. So every 0.001 kills, you get 1% raw damage multiplier, and I think it's every 0.1 kills you get, I think it's 1 life. So this gives us 88,000 life currently and 888 raw damage, 884 raw damage multiplier. If I had pure raw stats on everything for damage, this number would be much higher. This number would easily reach 10 million, but as it's unnecessary, no point. In fact, I'm going to show you this build off with the weaker weapon. So let's do a run so you guys can get a base idea before I break down the rest of the legendaries. And let's do this one. This one has double enemy spawns. Also, ruins real quick. Every 49 kills, you trigger your effect. The effect is Thorn Bites. It gives us a base amount of armor over our health, like a second defensive layer. And this scales off your armor as well, I'm pretty sure, something like that. And then we're using this, which increases its effect by up from 2% up to 150%. So we can gain, I think my cap currently with my current armor, which armor is also important, is about 240,000 shield. But like I said, the most important thing, you want your inner fire chance at least 30%. Max charges, you could probably, chill at like 15, 20, not a big deal. Duration is important to me. Because without duration on our gear, this thing would you see, it wouldn't be lasting too long. Our goal is to make it last one entire map until we go through the portal to the next layer. So this is how we start off. If you're weak, you'll start off with immune, run to a pack, throw your shields, wait for them proc. As you can see, inner fires all over the place. Some of them aren't big. I'm just going to whirlwind here, wait for them to get their crits, and they'll start growing in size. And when I'm comfortable, which usually is a lot quicker than this, I'm just showing you how the rotation works. We just let go of everything. We don't press anything, and we just run through the map with ridiculous speed. And sadly, we got the worst mod in the game. I don't know why this thing exists. It's going to make the run look a lot worse. But as you can see, we're pretty damn quick. And you could get quicker than this if you invest more pure stats into movement speed, but it's pretty ridiculous as it is. Like sometimes I miss over loot because I go through the map too quick. But as you can see, the movement speed is pretty good. It's a very fun build. You see the orbs are well, off screen. You can hear it. This is not a proper one. I'm just talking and showing you, as you can tell. But yeah, it's a very fast build. Even with all the talking, our inner fire is still up. It's not full off screening because we took way too long. Usually by now I'd be done onto the next level and rinse and repeat. So we're going to call it there for the showcase on how that works. Let's get on with the legendaries. Inner fire max charge. So the way max charge works, the more you have, the more inner fire you'll have on screen. We're using area damage reduction. Life regen is useless. Don't need it. I'm using movement speed and 2 reses. Inner fire damage on the bottom, 2 reses. Inner fire chance is pure, so we have a nice high inner fire chance. Tenacity is there. I might put a pure tenacity there. Try and grab, if I can find it, somewhere here. Where is there we go. Tenacity is 57%. If I whirlwind and go back on it, it should jump up to 97. I'm thinking of getting that to 100% without anything going on, as everything else is not really necessary. So yeah, belt's super important. Makes it so you can't exceed more than 33% of our life. So something would have to hit us probably about 4 times to 3 times in order to kill us for this damage, but you know, it's not going to happen. We're going to be fine. So we get some mana. Movement speed multiplier, this is huge. If you see, our movement speed currently is 124%. We take the boots off, and we go down to 82%. So it is a very big multiplier. There are other things you can use besides this. I will be showing you that later, but it has pure movement speed, inner fire chance, inner fire damage, area damage reduction, inner fire max charge. You can even get inner fire duration if you look at my shoulders, not the legendary, but on the epic stat, inner fire duration. You can also get that pure if you want more. Next ring. Every time we deal an ancestral strike, our charges go up by 1, which means we get 1 extra in the fireball, times 19. So the way Ancestral Strike works, from what I know, is every time you deal a critical strike with your abilities, Inner Fire is not an ability, so that doesn't matter. So every time we crit with Whirlwind mainly, it should give us a 28% chance to do an Ancestral Strike, and if we do, this is going to proc and give us another fire ball around us. And if you see, Whirlwind hits a lot. The problem is a lot of things don't survive, but when you're doing breaches, as you walk into the breaches whirlwind, your whirlwind should hit them first, making that proc. So it doesn't really matter. Next, you deal 35 increased damage to enemies below 57% life. This one's useless. I'm gonna replace this one probably with a raw damage increase later on. But for now, it's whatever. I'm not struggling, so what's the point? This one is mainly not for the gold find, but it makes gold, storm mites, storm lines, and pretty much all the materials in the game. It increases your pickup radius. Once you use this, you cannot go back. Shoulders are very important. The legendary is inner fire duration increase. We showed you this before, but we'll show you again. We go from 55 seconds duration to 18 seconds. It makes a big difference in maps. This also has inner fire duration on the bottom. You could put pure stats on this to get it higher if you want it to last longer. Unnecessary. This one has a triple pure inner fire. The main one for this is the reses on the bottom. It gives us a lot of res. Capping out your reses reduces your damage by a big margin. Getting 100% means any of those reses that have a debuff, for example, Shadow, they could apply a debuff where you can't regen. I think it's life and mana, I'm not sure. Getting any of these to 100% will disable that debuff. For example, I can never get burned. So if you've ever been hit by a fire ability and you're running around burning, that's gone. Light's not that useful. Ice is okay, but the main ones would be Shadow. That's the main one you want to get up. Area damage, really useful. And yeah, so that's that. Helmet is for that, and every time we block, we gain 8.6% life. Don't really need this. I don't even lose my armor, to be honest with you. I've not seen my armor go down halfway in a very long time. Especially if I'm doing Forge, where I get my armor up to 240,000. By armor, I mean the layer that the Thornbites add, not my actual armor. That is also important. You should be getting this high. Let's go over attributes before I do some more showcase. The most important one for toughness is just this. The reason is 25% of your armor gets added to your elemental res. Now, it is not this resist. This only gets added by your gear, and I think a couple of nodes here that give you reses somewhere. But it adds this. So the way it works is if you get hit by a fire spell, my 100% fire res, it doesn't, getting over 100% is useless. So I'm pretty sure the 100% fire res kicks in, and then this kicks in for the damage reduction. I can stand in pretty much every elemental, I won't die. So that's the most important. If you're tanky, always take this. Don't worry about it, it's worth it. You can take raw damage if you like. I just decided to throw it in. Another important one, getting these two nodes here, is 4% crit chance plus this. It's 10% all up. And the most important, bravery. I wouldn't take this unless your gear is good. as it gives you no benefits for survivability, but it does give you 37% move speed and a very important one, influence gain. Influence gain makes it so the more influence you have in that area, if you run it in the nether version, you will receive more nether charges, which increases your chance of receiving a nether gear when you kill a warlord. For me, the most important thing here is the movement speed. Second would be magic find, and then influence. Like those are the main two I want. But this is the only way to gain influence gain. By the way, there's nothing else in the game. Weapons, gear, mods. There's nothing else. So bravery is very important if you can run it. What else do we want to show? We showed off that. Weapons, couple of inner fire choices. This is the best one. It gives you just so much damage. I told you it adds an extra digit to it at the beginning. But another couple of ones, the ones I started off with leveling as soon as I hit maps was fireworks. It gives you 15% inner fire chance. It's a good startup weapon. Then from fireworks, you want to go over to this. It just gives you a crap ton of inner fire damage and duration. Like a ridiculous amount. Like if I put this on, my duration goes from 55 seconds to 137. So it gives you an extra 42 seconds. This is overkill. Like I don't know what would take me more than this. Even the Forge, I don't need that. So let's go back to our gold find weapon. But yeah, so that's that. Attributes have been shown. Runes have been shown. Just trying to think if I've missed anything else. That's been shown. Another thing, that wasn't a nether realm I did a test on, so let's actually do it in a red nether realm. Sorry, a primordial. Primordial is the hardest version of the nether realm. Just in case people say you didn't run it on the thing. That was my mistake. So let's throw a couple of more. I'm going to start whirlwinding here. Get a couple, and now we just run. As you see, it's a very fast build. I'm thinking of making it even faster, even though some of the movements are a bit rough at this speed to do like corner cuts like that. But it's very fast build. You should be able to beat an entire, like the first area, you know, before the portal opens up saying go to the next zone. You should be able to run through all of this before your inner fires, you know, don't go away. But if we keep getting mods like this, then maybe not. I really despise this mod. It's my most hated one. Not for difficulty, it's just for, it's like it was made for pure annoyance. As you see, maps are pretty much cleared. If I didn't miss here, it would have been cleared. In fact, we still have inner fire charges. Let's just go there. And wada bing bada boom, it is done. So anyway, build's really fun, you know. Showed off that in the Primordial version there. Whatever. It would have been faster. It would have been under a minute just that one side. I'm not going to finish the map as I'm farming it for Magic Find. That is the next build I'm doing. But yeah, that one's pretty good. If I can find... There was a zone that made it... I just cannot find it. There was a zone that made a lot of fireballs or a lot of explosions in general. Ice bombs appear every second. Let me see if this is the one. Should have prepared for this. This is definitely not the one. But I could literally stand in every explosion there is. Like if this whole screen was covered in explosion, I wouldn't have to move. I've tested it multiple times. It's just sad that I cannot figure out which one it is without having to edit this really dumb video. That's happening right now. Every time I record, I always end up forgetting something. I swear to God, it's just a thing. I'm just going to have one more look around. If I can figure it out, I'll figure it out. If not, don't worry about it. We're not going to bother then. By the way, this is the worst zone. That one might still kill. It just does so much bloody damage. I do not know why. They just do. But anyway, let's talk about other things. I can't figure it out. But let's show off the Forge. I've tested the Forge out before. I've been farming the Forge with this weapon. Always get to wave 100. Even when I get the stupid mod that gives them like 1400 life. The only difference, what happens there is I do not have the damage to melt them. So instead of standing like this, I end up moving around. Because I swear to God, that life boost also gives them a ridiculous amount of damage boost. It just feels like it. But the Forge is easy. We start off, get the enemies, throw your shields as usual. You could go immune, so, you know, if you're a bit weak or if you don't have enough life. Because I would definitely put life gear on if you're starting off. And then whenever you're done, choose something. Sit in the middle here. Don't worry about anything. You just sit in the middle, whirlwinding. You have a controller. hold X. Don't worry about it. When you're ready, choose whatever. It doesn't matter. I've tested out situations before making this guide. My gear is pretty good. I've had screens covering AoE on top of AoE multipliers with elemental damage. And I think the worst I've ever seen my armor drop from 245,000, I think I've seen it drop to like 180. And yeah, and that's not killing all the mobs that are spawning either. That's just sitting there seeing how much I could tank. Should have recorded for a demonstration, but this is a forge. Nothing changes. If you don't pick the one that gives them 1400 plus life, nothing really changes. You sit here AFK, and every time that 1400 life one comes on, just pop this bad boy on, you know, 6 million, and then you melt them anyway. So it doesn't matter to me. But you don't need Vengeance. Vengeance is unlocked. This weapon's called Vengeance. It's unlocked when you beat all the nether, not the primordial, just a regular nether. When you beat all that, and then you beat a boss for the side quest, and then you're done. And then you can unlock that. You can scale it here. This is where I scaled my one. We're not going to do the next zone, as I don't need anything. Let's just take all this and get out of here. But yeah, it's pretty easy. Done all the primordial nether. Everything's finished, no problem. Everything's cleared. Didn't really have much issues. Except for, I think it's this one. Pretty sure it's this one. This one's the worst one. By far, that one took me like 5 tries to do. The rest were like one shots, no problem. But yeah, everything's been cleared. I haven't had really much struggles once I figured out how the defense layers work in this game. It's not that hard. It's just throwing up a legendary. Before I forget, I'm going to show a horrible screenshot. May hurt your eyes as much as it hurt me doing it. Uh, these are the other legendaries you can use. Whenever you deal Ancestral Strike, you gain Translated Stacks, stacking up to 5% damage, giving you more damage. I don't know if I'm using that or not. Some of these go on different effects as well. Like, don't think just because it says here it can't go on anywhere else. I'm pretty sure this also goes on, I think it's gloves. Whenever you should be defeated, you get restored with 1 life, 60% cooldown, 60-second cooldown, sorry. You could try this. Probably the other one you could use, instead of getting more fire orbs, if you're still like fireball, sorry, from our chest piece. Our chest piece gives us 9.5 max charges instantly. That's why I like it. You can use 20% armor. Remember, more armor means less physical damage, which doesn't exist at our current gear level anyway, but also means more ruin charges. So this will probably get me from like 245,000 ruin armor to somewhere like 280, 300,000. Unnecessary, I didn't use it. Your ultimatum gains 3 levels. Your defense stat on both rings is increased. And you have raw damage multiplier. If you want more damage, go with this. This will give you a big multiplier, especially if you're using Vengeance. But yeah, showing off the gear again so you guys see it. But yeah, very good build, super fun, great game. It's a very good ARPG. The only thing this game is missing, in my opinion, is a very hard difficulty, because it's gotten to the point that if you're farming pure gear, it's just to do it for the grind. There's no difficulty afterwards. You're not improving much. Like, I would say you do a day or two of pure farming, you're not going to have any defense or damage problems or survivability. You should be fine. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I showed everything off in the build. I just want to double check. Sorry, this video, I do not like editing videos. So this is a bit of a rough one. Pretty sure that's everything. Oh, we're using this for crit damage. Just know with the ultimatums, whatever that percent is, you cannot go over that with gear mods or anything. That's why they're kind of bad to use. But you could use them still. Like, I'm using this because I don't want to put crit damage on my gear, right? So free 280% damage increase. You can put other ones. There's area damage reduction. If you don't have that, there's inner fire damage. Not great. There's a couple. Ancestral Strike chance, pretty decent. Just make sure when you're gearing up, get to about 30% crit chance. I'm at 45. Don't worry about the one. We've talked about the bugs in this game. Get to about 30% crit chance, and I'd say about 20 ancestral, and you should be comfy. I want to test out my inner fire chance to hit. I would like to get a couple of more nether gears and just put on like pure inner fire chance, get it to 100%, and just to see that when I start a map, how does it feel if I just whirlwind instead of this? You know what I mean? I just want to test it just for a gimmick. I do have a farm guide coming out soon. I am going to spend the next probably week and a half if I'm not playing other games as well, attempting to farm this, which is magic gear. So magic quality, magic quantity helps you find more gear, which means more pure. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the build. That's my. Oh, luckily, we actually did forget. Thank God I clicked on that. I forgot the ancestral legacies. We're using this. It gives us fire skills on our weapons. So every time we whirlwind, we're going to have fire. And the main reason is for this. When we hit an enemy with fire, we have 40% crit chance. So we get to about 85% crit chance whirlwinding, which is pretty good. And this 40% crit chance also affects our inner fire crit chance. So that's why I was saying to whirlwind. 20% fire res, why not? 5% inner fire chance, max charge duration. This is great. We also got bombs. Don't think I care about that. Don't care about that. And then we have this. It's raw damage, life regeneration. Doesn't matter. And then I have this. This just gives me raw damage. If you don't want this, you could type in something like light res, enter. And you can put this on. Gives you 30% shadow res, 30% light res, 15% armor. This one's great. If you have a lot of damage, especially if you're someone that's like, you don't care about using gold fine, you just want to use vengeance and level it up. Honestly, if I was using vengeance 24/7, I would just take that raw damage off and put the res in. And that way, that's 60% all up res you get reduced from your gear. So instead of, I would have an extra 30% shadow and 30% light res. You know what I mean? That way I could change that to other reses and cap out my res, but it's unnecessary. There's nothing hard left in this game. Everything's been done. Primordial nethers all got one shot except for one zone. Took me about 4 tries. It's just, I don't know why that zone does so much damage. And yeah, I'm going to make a guide soon on how to farm pure. Best strat to farm pure gear, sorry. So wait out for that. Thanks for watching. Sorry if I went on a rant. Don't really make videos like this a lot, especially on a game that's this in depth. Great game. Really would recommend. As there's nothing to play right now, I would recommend getting this game. You can come back to it whenever. I don't think it has seasons, so you could play at your own pace. There's a million other builds. I'm sure there's different ways to do inner fire. Like you could use, let me find it before I get off. Like if I use this gives you a chance to use inner fire if you see fast expansion. It has 13-second cooldown. It's right here. If I press 1, we get 5 balls. And I think the strat for that would be to stack cooldown reduction. So you could just spam this. I think you could get it to 2 seconds. You just keep spamming 1 and it fills your whole screen with orbs. This might be a cool way to do it. But, don't want to really wait for that. I would rather just manually play and use it. But yeah, thanks for listening. Sorry about the rant. Just trying to give as much details as I humanly can. Just like I say, repeat on what's most important. Inner fire chance, get that to at least like 30. Crit chance, get it to like 25, 30. Ancestral strike, get it to like 20. That should be the minimum. Focus on getting your reses up ASAP. Use this instantly, this legendary. Do not even look at other legendaries. Use this one instantly. And then I would say the next most important one would probably be, for survivability, it'd be the reses. And then from there on, I would look at for the shoulders and then the chest. And then block chance so you can heal. It's not really killable, this class. I would have to go out of my way to get a kill. I don't know how. Like, remove some of my gear. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. And keep an eye out for my pure farm strat that I've been using recently. It's pretty good. So, thanks.